Chapter 6. The Light at the End of the Tunnel. The whole tunnel starts shaking violently as a large creature bursts in through the ceiling. Its long body wriggles through the tunnel and starts exiting through the floor. It shoots out a tentacle-like appendage that grabs Amy by the throat and lifts her up. Amy lets go of her shotgun and grabs the tentacle, trying to break herself free. Mark fires his shotgun in the direction of the creature, and it lets Amy go. At this point, the creature has completely passed through. The teens stand, waiting to see where it will come from next. Then, it bursts out from one of the side walls. It throws out a tentacle, hitting Mark. He falls down, dropping his shotgun. Amy dives for her shotgun, but the monster pulls it out of her reach with another tentacle. It then passes through the other wall of the tunnel. This time, it comes up from the floor. It does not come all the way through. After its body is part of the way in the main area, it stops and rears up. It grabs Mark and Amy with its tentacles and starts shaking them around like dolls. While being shaken around, Amy passes by one of the shotguns lying on the floor. In the split second that she is close enough to reach it, she grabs it and fires. The last monster lets Amy and Mark go. Mark quickly runs to the other shotgun, picks it up, and starts firing. Mark and Amy fire the rounds into the monster until they have no rounds left. The last monster falls back down under the ground. Then, its voice can be heard again.
"Ah!"
it cries.
"I will not let myself be defeated by pitiful humans! If I'm going to die, I'm making sure you come with me!"
There is a great rumbling in the tunnel. Then, water starts pouring into the area. The water level rises and rises until it becomes a great flood. Amy and Mark start running back the way they came, trying to escape the flood. They eventually reach the area where they entered the tunnel, but the hole in the ceiling is too high for them to climb out. It looks like the teenagers have gone as far as they can go. It looks like they're doomed to drown inside the flooding tunnel. Then, an arm reaches down through the opening of the tunnel. Mark and Amy grab onto it, and the incredibly strong arm pulls them out of the tunnel. Back on the surface, Amy and Mark can see that it was the heart creatures, their parents, that saved them. The monsters do not attack. They just stand there and stare at the teenagers. The teens are incapable of holding back tears. Amy walks up to the creatures and hugs one of them. "Thank you so much," Amy says. "I would never be able to tell you how much you mean to me, even if I had all the time in the world." Mark walks up to the other creature and hugs it. "No matter what happens to you," he says, "we still love you, too." An orphanage can be seen. Many kids walk around, conducting their business. Among those kids are Mark and Amy. The madness was stopped, but the damage that had already been done could not be undone. Amy once again found herself in an orphanage, but this time she had Mark at her side. For the rest of their lives they stuck together. Even after they became adults and had families of their own, they never lost contact with each other. The monsters that prowled the town continued to exist, and no one dared to go anywhere near the city. Eventually, the monsters died out, people returned to the haunted land, and everyone gradually forgot about what had happened. Trivia. The names for the monsters used throughout this story are not their true names. Their true names were hidden to avoid spoilers. Their true names are: the screaming creature is Fear, the wailing creature is Sorrow, the huge creature is Anger, the laughing creature is Joy, the tongue creature is Hunger, and the heart creature is Love. All of the creatures that can be seen on the cover art are monsters that actually appear in the story. The last monster takes place in Canada. Canada was chosen not out of preference, but out of logic. The last monster was hibernating in the polar north of the globe. When it woke up, it started moving south. Along with a few other places, like Russia and Scandinavia, Canada was one of the only places that it would logically reach first. When it was first conceived, the last monster was called Phantom Forest and took place entirely in the forest that makes up the final stretch of the story. The story began with Mark and Amy watching TV. A news segment came on saying that numerous people had disappeared into the nearby woods and hadn't been heard from since. It went on to say that a research team, including Mark and Amy's parents, was going in to investigate. After many days had passed with no contact from their parents at all, the teenagers decided to go into the forest to search for them. Throughout their journey, they found pages of a journal left by their parents. Each page revealed a little piece of the puzzle. I changed it partially because this formula felt way too contrived. I wanted the story to feel as realistically possible as it could. Among other changes, the story was expanded to include events in the nearby city. At that point, the name Phantom Forest no longer fit and had to be changed.